Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, welcome, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas, season's greetings to all from USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is presenting pet psychic Aminah. Let's bring her out. Welcome.
Hi. How are you?
We're both in red.
Yeah, exactly. I hadn't even thought of this. I was very fortunate to go to Palo Alto. If anybody knows California, Palo Alto is very, very, very fancy. I went up there for a speech. I was doing a public address to one of the corporations, and found this great dress. You know how you have dead time? I'm early because I hate to be late. And I found this amazing handmade dress store. They had all these beautiful one-of-a-kind pieces. And I was like, oh, that's my color. And then when I found it today, I was like, oh, that's my color for today.
Yay. Well, it looks good on you. Nice and festive and cheery. Aminah, we are going to be talking about how to care for your pets during the holidays. But for folks who are joining for the first time, tell them a little bit about yourself and everything that you do in addition to being a pet psychic.
Thank you so much. So my name is pronounced Aminah, and it is a Middle Eastern name, and I really love what I do. It is God-given. I have heard and talked to the bugs, the bees, the birds, everything for a lifetime. Absolutely a lifetime. When I was a very little kid, I didn't know that people didn't also hear it, because of course I would just have assumed. So by the time I got to 5, 6, 7, you start going, people give me funny looks when I would speak in the first person about our cat and say, he doesn't like that. Didn't you hear? He said he doesn't like that. And people look at me like, she didn't really mean it literally that you heard, but I could feel that and hear that. And now it has been honed. It has been educated. I also went to college, studied public speaking and animal science. I worked in a vet clinic. I loved it. I was in surgery quite a bit. I was just an assistant, but you learn a lot from seeing and touching. So I'm going to really drive you towards a vet if that's what you need. I am really going to say, let's get a professional trainer. Yes, I am a trainer, but I don't normally come out to people's homes. I have clients all over the world because I simply need a phone call. And we're so lucky to have such easy ways to just pick up our cell phone and talk to each other. I have clients, again, in Europe and Spain right now, and Croatia was the newest one of last year. That was really fun. And I'm just pleased to be able to give you a translation of what your pets are trying to tell you. And is it the end of life? Is it time to see the vet for whatever reason, medical or otherwise? Those are the questions that I can answer, besides saying, is this the right animal to adopt? The hardest thing I do, honestly, to just be completely transparent, which I try really hard, is lost pets. They are kind of like the bane of my existence, because it's so hard to get the people to calm down, to get the animal to calm down, and everybody, when you're really high energy, you block out a lot of conversation. And that's really, really where I have to start, is getting everybody to take a deep breath and say, we're going to find you. We're going to find you. And that type of stuff. I was really fortunate to be a part of a lost pet. Actually, that's not the right term. The dog was stolen out of the gentleman's car. No, he did not lock the doors. He was going to be gone for a second. And it was a very small designer dog. And he came back and he was just heartbroken. That was his buddy. And it went to every job he went to. He did a lot of outwork. And we got it. And that's a story for another time. We got that puppy back. So, but the neat thing is that puppy was so sure Dad was coming. It was almost impossible I could never get the dog to bark. Oh, I said, and he's like, can't you get the dog to bark? Nope, you taught him not to bark because he knows you're coming. And I'm thinking, come on, just a little bit of bark. So we did get them, and a lot of pressure on the family that stole them. And I said, just take the dog and walk away. If you decide to do something legal later, that's fine. But right now, you're what you need to do is take your dog and leave, and that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
just
That's got to be
amazing.
so rewarding to help someone
It is.
find their loved one. And I'd love to just chat a little bit about the holidays, how it can impact pets. Pets, we hope, are part of people's family,
Right.
and sometimes maybe they're the focal point, and then when the holidays come, maybe they're taking a back seat. So, anything that our audience can benefit from in terms of how to care for their pets during this time of year.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you touching on all these really important things. We did this with 4th of July also, because we do lose a lot of pets. And I don't mean just running away from the sounds, which they can't get away from, and it's really terrifying. But you have, I'm gonna just categorize in two things, so it's a simple conversation. What I see is families that have pets, dogs and cats specifically, that are walking around the house, and then they have all these company, and people are still getting together even today. I know of people that are going to family, and they've all like quarantined themselves for like the last 6 weeks, so that they're wearing masks and that type of stuff to keep everybody safe. So families are getting together even in this day. What happens is the pet either gets ignored completely or it gets fed to death. And then there's a lot of gray in between there. But these are the extremes that I see. And the vets, I'm sure, are very busy afterwards, because you think about, let's say you're going to have turkey, you're going to have ham, all of these types of things, and said, well, they'd eat it in the wild. Yeah, but not roasted and salted and buttered and mashed potatoes, because I've seen people literally put a plate on the ground and say, oh, he'll clean it up. Okay, we don't need salt and pepper and all that kind of stuff. So if food is causing the obesity problem in the United States and the whole world, if you're serving punch or alcohol, unless it's water and it's not in a glass, because a lot of these very really nice dinners, people get out the nice dishes and that type of stuff. So I want you to think about, if you were on the floor waiting for the dropping of the food, go sit by grandma, because it all seems to come down off the floor or something like that. And grandpa does it too. Let's not be biased here. They will target those. The problem is, if you're eating meat on the bone, whatever it is, and you think it's okay to give them the bones, let me be really specific. Birds. If you're doing turkey, chicken, quail, anything in the bird family, those bones are absolutely forbidden for dogs and cats. Cats won't usually gnaw on them. And why? Because they splinter. They splinter almost seconds. We all know you can take a wishbone and you can break it apart, but if you try to break the middle of it, it will, and then you've got shards. This is what gets in their teeth. This is what they swallow unsuccessfully, and you're in the emergency vet clinic with 5 of your closest neighbors who also have dogs, and I'm trying not to scare anybody, but I really want to scare you. You're having major surgery. It's stuck in their throat. They have to redo the esophagus. They have to redo the holes here, and you're feeding what? Baby food for the next 8 to 10 weeks, or your animal dies because you didn't know. We talk about it all the time about cautions. Don't leave food on the table with a Great Dane or a Chihuahua, because they can all get up there. That's what the chairs are for, and eat off the table. We have a ton of processed food. I mean, even if you make your cake at home, the sugar count alone in that, a barbecued chicken, the barbecue is all sugar, and animals and us shouldn't be consuming that much sugar. But your birds, especially if you're doing turkey, I know some people do Christmas and some people do Thanksgiving with turkey, or both. Any of the birds, any of those small bones, you will get everything from, they will get one stuck in their throat, they'll get it stuck in their teeth, they'll get stuck in their gut. If it gets all the way down, it's almost impossible for them to poop it out. And, even if it's this big, you and I both know you could get a little nail or a bolt or a button. It has all smooth sides. It could kill them if their esophagus, you have a German Shepherd, but you don't know the esophagus is smaller, or you don't know that their intestines are compromised because he ate, I don't know, something off the floor 3 months ago, and he has a burned hole, which you wouldn't see if it had no symptoms, if he's not having blood in his system. That one little button or that one little piece of meat could be the tipping point of dead. So this is what I'm cautioning everybody. I'm going to go to the real big part, and that's the D word. We don't want to see our pets suffer, but a lot of times we don't notice that something's so close to the edge of the table. Oh, it's no big deal. It's a rib. They're huge bones. It comes from okay. Take the meat off or something like that, or get a bone that your vet has said that's okay for that breed, that size of dog to eat, and he won't break his teeth. Nobody can guarantee that. Nobody can guarantee even if I eat it, I don't break my teeth. So when you have large gatherings, the biggest problem with animals is they get either ignored, stepped on, they get anxious, and or they're locked in a room or tied up out back. There's just got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to get prepared for a public event. If you like having guests and you like having your mom and dad come or whatever, it's all about training. You're going to have a dog and a cat. Now, cats can easily go sleep in somebody's room and close the door with food and a litter box, and they're fine for hours and hours and hours, especially if there's a window and they have a cat tree to look out, and that's TV. With a dog, he's very much a pack animal. He wants to be with his pack. Cat doesn't mind being bothered. Also, you have to understand what you're dealing with. That dog would like to be with everybody. So what you need to do is practice them being alone and being secure and not howling and not whining. If you've ever heard a dog, especially the bigger ones that whine, oh my gosh, just get out a kazoo and play it for like 3 hours while you're sleeping. And that would be about as obnoxious as that can get. So that would ruin your holiday. Besides, it could ruin an animal's life. So please don't feed them table scraps, ever. If you're going to cook liver for them, great, do that. But cook it for them, not a part of your meal and it comes off the plate, because they do get it. They do say, oh, that table's for food and that food is for me. It's okay about you guys, but that food is for me also.
Aminah, I love that you refer to.
I can go on for hours. I go room to room. I'm about saving lives, so I'm trying to go. Okay, that's enough. Let's let her ask me another question.
That was really good information. So don't feed your pets from the table. Don't put plates of food or something on the floor. And by the way, all somebody has to do is knock over something and break it, and then the pet's walking on glass or whatever the case may be.
And you'll never get those tiny little shards. I don't care what microscope comes out and the doctor has to look at it. You're paying thousands of dollars at that point because it would take hours to get those shards out. And if you've ever had even a hangnail and how it just irritates your finger, and you could get a slice of glass that small in a dog's foot, your foot, the cat's foot, and you wouldn't be able to see it. Even with a microscope, it would be almost impossible. You'd get a huge infection. So think about it. What I try to do is turn it on us. What would you feel like if you had a bone in your tooth? Even this big. It would hurt, and you'd walk around. And eventually your face would swell because the body would be trying to get rid of it. And then you'd have an infection. And then if you love dentists, that's great, but you might be there. You might be having oral surgery. Let's not get there. So it's prevention. Stop at the stop sign, so you don't get hit by the car that's going through the stop sign. There are reasons to be cautious, and animals deserve the same kind of care. And I think we forget when we have guests. I think we forget. We're so concentrating on, did I make the cake? Did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? What do my people need? Oh, we're going to have breakfast. Oh, we're going to have this. Wait a minute. What's happening to the dog? What's happening to the cat? What's happening to the guinea pig, the bird, parrots? Oh my gosh. They're very demanding. So depending on the size, even. I had a son conure, and whoa, I overspoiled, and boy, I couldn't breathe without him being in my presence, because as long as I was in the room, he was fine. God forbid I went to the bathroom or went to my bedroom to get something. He came unglued. But so there is ways to correct that, but it takes time. It takes time to create a bad behavior. It usually takes longer to solve it.
Amina, when we think about having people over, and of course, our pets are part of our life and our family, and they're used to being in the house. And in some cases, I don't have pets anymore, but I'm just speaking in general terms. People have their pets on their furniture, and guests are coming, and they're going to be sitting on this furniture. So if you're used to having your dog on the couch, is that something that you should maybe reconsider, or just say to your guests, "Hey, this is Billy's spots where Billy sits"?
There's so many answers. Get it down to one or two. Because I don't believe in blanket, look at my use of blanket statements. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's cleanliness is different. Love and hates are different, and that type of stuff. If you're going to invite the public over, and that could be your neighbor, that could be your girlfriend, it could be your whatever, your mom or dad. So many people I've seen, sadly, a lot of people do entertain me completely differently. And the ones that would put a blanket on the couch and have a nice whatever ruggy blanket, something that's nice designer wise, you can a million just blank colors. I personally would say, gosh, I'd hate to cover up my really, really nice couch with a sheet, but I'd rather do that if I have a guest I know that might be allergic, because I don't care if you wash those cushions. All my cushions you can zip them off and take them to the cleaners. And that's great, but I can't take the back cushion off or the foot, skirt and that kind of stuff. If you have somebody that is allergic, it could be either a hospital visit or they never come to your home. And so covering with a sheet or a blanket, and you have to check with the person and their allergies, or have that chair, like I have a wood dining chair so they don't collect hair. So you can make those decisions. You need to decide, having this person is going to take this kind of work. If I have somebody who is coming with a cane or has a wheelchair or any other special needs and that type of stuff, then I need to either decide never to invite them, and I always go there, or you make the accommodations. Because that's truly what I'm going to make this is my opinion. I'm not all knowing of your situation, but if you're going to host people in your home, you have to accommodate. Otherwise, they will never, ever come back. Because I've been to homes where we took our shoes off and I didn't want to put my feet back in my shoes. It was so gross. And they didn't wear shoes in their house. And I'm thinking, but I don't know what else they did, spilled things and then didn't wash the carpets or what, but it was just like, oh, this is bad. This is really bad. But you won't know that until you got in the house, or you were there, and you just smile and nod and go eat really fast. Sit forward on the chair and say, oh, I have a bad back, so this is easier. Whatever you have to do to keep the peace, and that type of stuff. So you don't want anybody to feel like that when they come to your home. And if you're handicapped, I have a really, really close friend, and she is in her late 80s. And I spend as much time with her as possible because we're a roaring fun mess. We just have a lot of joy, because at some point you just have to laugh about all our limitations, because, my hands and she's walking on a walker, but she still hires somebody to come and clean her carpet. She still hires somebody to come and help clean her kitchen and the things that matter. Now, she has a dining room table that pretty much looks like mine. It's our desk. Mm-hmm. So we know those piles. You know this. Mm-hmm. You have the pile left, pile right. And it's like, don't touch the piles, because if you move them, I won't know where anything is. But she has to clean that all up. And the nice thing is, the people that come to help her say, where would you like this? And can we just stack it? I know I would ask that. Think about how you can be a good guest. It's not just one-sided. We haven't even talked about how do you be a guest in somebody's home with a pet. And we'll get to that, I'm sure. But right now we're talking about how do you have pets think about, especially if you have a big dog, St. Bernard, German Shepherd, even the standard poodles, all that kind of stuff. And you're looking at a Bichon Frise or a standard poodle, they don't technically in the industry shed. Yeah, we all shed. I mean, one hair is going to come off, but they don't have the oils and the same. So you might get away with more allergy, less allergy issues for somebody with allergies if they know how they behave around these two types of breeds. So know the dogs, but the double coats, your shepherds and all that kind of stuff, your big dogs are going to be possibly a little bit more. You could give them a bath, but if you're allergic, that's not really the problem for most people. So you need to come up with, can they sit in a kennel outside? Can they, and you go out and you throw the ball. If you're going to have even 3 people, much less 10, go out and take them for a bike ride. I don't know about you, but if you're cooking, cleaning, can you imagine going out for a beautiful walk, a bike ride? You get the dog all exercised and energy down. You go in, you take a shower, you put your nice clothes on, and you start the party. Doesn't that sound a lot calmer?
Yes, that's what I haven't had a dinner party in a couple years, but when I did, that's what I would do. I get my exercise in at some point
Yeah.
during the day. Now, Amina, what if you invite someone and they have a dog and they'd like to bring their dog to your home and their dog has not been with your dog?
You're going to need to know this person well enough to make this call, because this is information. We can all say, how many times have we all heard, oh, I have the cutest Pekingese ever, poodle, whatever, Shih Tzu, pick a breed, that are the middle to smaller ones, okay? And that they're going to carry it everywhere and they're going to bring it everywhere. That's a little bit more typical. So let's say I have and they're so calm and they're always so friendly, and that's great. That is what their experience has been till now, because everybody's great until they're not. Everybody doesn't know what they don't know or hasn't acted out. And maybe this dog at the house and this dog that's visiting don't like each other. They smell funny. They had a bad morning. Who knows? So if you're willing to have them in your home, because you're the hostess in this situation, in my example, is that you need to have a meet and greet before. It would be really great to see that. And what both dogs should have had is a long walk, just what we talked about. A bicycle ride would even be better if their feet are used to, or they're big enough to run alongside, not in a basket, because there's no exercise except for in the mind, which is good. Throw a ball in the backyard. Again, you're setting up for a party. This has to be part of your agenda, is what happens to the pet. Cats sleep all day pretty much. So they'll be just fine sleeping in the other room. And if you have a small child or something that's just all about, oh, can I see the cat? You got to know your cat, and then have them put their hand out, have them smell it. And I mean the cat, not the person. Let me be clear here. The person needs to put out their hand to the animal. It's a sign of respect, but it's also a sign of greeting. They can smell it. They can figure out what you're all about. If you're nervous, happy, sad, mad, glad, or evil, or whatever. Animals know a lot about us just by our scent and where we've been and that type of stuff. So plan for the day you want to have. You do as best you can. You get the dogs exercised before you take your shower. Let's say all the food's prepared. That's all done. You're getting the rest of it out into serving dishes, because you'd never leave a dog around a bunch of serving dishes without supervision. And then take them for a walk or hike. You come in, you shower, you get dressed. And guess what? All your guests come. You're nice and calm. Your animal's nice and calm. All of that. If you're going to invite other pets, even one, remember, it adds to the workload, because now you need to be conscientious of, where's that pet? Is it okay? Is yours okay? You have to preempt a fight. You have to preempt a problem as much as you can. But if you don't even know that there might be a problem, which is what we're talking about, that's what we're here to discuss with you guys, is saying, plan for a problem, meaning have exercise, good food, have them rested, and or have them in a bedroom or backyard.
Thank you, Amina. That was really good information as well. Now, if you are going to, regardless of the holidays, let's say you go to a dog park or your dog is interacting with other dogs, what kind of shots should your dog have before they interact with others?
That I'm going to leave to a vet's expertise because they change all the time. Tetanus has been a really big deal. You've got to have your kennel cough, especially if you're going to take them to boarding facility, go on vacation and have them. They'll give you a list of vaccines they require. It's really important to do that because let's say somebody says, oh, no, I've got them all and they're good and all that kind of stuff, and they don't. We've met plenty of people in this day and age that are doing other things that they say they have and have not done. So when your animal gets sick and you risk them dying because you didn't know or it wasn't vaccinated or whatever, vaccines aren't a cure-all for everything, but it's sure a great preventative for a lot of stuff. So I'm never going to say, and no vet I think will ever say, this is going to fix everything. Well, that's unrealistic because you don't know what might happen that will change that scenario. Prepare for nothing to happen by being prevented. So if you're going to take a small child to something, let me use this as an example, and you know you're going to go, let's see, Disneyland. You're going to go to Disneyland for 3 days, and you've got a child under 5. I don't care if you got a child under 10, it would still work, but 5 is even more. They're going to be tired. They're going to need a nap, and then you're going to need food. And I don't mean food from the place you're at, your Magic Mountain or Disneyland or wherever. You don't need fried hot dogs and all that kind of stuff. It's not nutritious, and it's great fun. And they're getting better about getting salads and fruit and all that kind of stuff. But have those snacks with you, because last thing you want is a grumpy kid. The same with a pet. They're no different. They just, it's a different technique with a pet. You can bring beef jerky and they would be good with that as a snack. You don't really need to feed your dog as often probably as you do somebody under 6 years of age who needs food or something to sip on or something like that. Otherwise you have a very grumpy, crabby child. I love things as easy as peanut butter and jelly. Guess what? You can do peanut butter with a dog. Now, they might not be crazy about the bread, but you kind of put the peanut butter on something. And if you were gone for a while, you could just take a jar of peanut butter with you, let them lick it off the spoon. It gives time for you and them to bond. And let's say you've been really, really busy. It gets you both to stop. You hold the spoon and they get a little bit of a treat because that's most people use this peanut butter as that. I know we've used it as a training tool because if you can get the nose and the mouth engaged in a thought and a pattern, you can teach a lot. I know people use Cheese Whiz and cheese and all that kind of stuff. I don't recommend the Cheese Whiz. It's kind of crap. But when it's training, it's this much Cheese Whiz, not a whole thing of Cheese Whiz. So that's what I'm talking about. Plan ahead and decide where your limitations are. Because if you lose it at your party and you're exhausted, then everybody's going to know. Everybody's going to know that it just didn't work. And that's not the party you were planning on having. And I want you to have the party you're hoping to have with your friends and family. That takes planning. That takes planning when you're dealing with pets.
That's really interesting about the peanut butter. I wasn't aware of that. That peanut butter is something you can actually give to a dog.
You can. I don't recommend crunchy. They don't really care about that. They're going to crunch it up. But it's that's why I'm such a fan of the $1.25 store. I just found out what the new price was.
Changing all the signs now.
I finally went there. You'll have to see what I bought. You know what Mike Winkowski is?
Mike Winkowski.
I said his last name totally wrong. But he's from some cartoon, Disney cartoon. He's like an eye. And he walks around, he's green, and they work in a monster store.
Yes.
I was looking for a little ladybug because my friend gave me this beautiful silk rose. beautiful in a vase, the whole thing. And everybody, I brought it home and everybody says, wow, where'd you get that rose? It's not real. Calm down. But I got Mike because I couldn't find a bug anywhere. But I went to the dollar store and I got Mike, and everybody's like, that's a beautiful rose. Why do you have this silly green creature on it? I said, have you met me? It's my sense of humor. So you want to go in with what you're capable of doing. So we're back on the cheese and the peanut butter. It makes great training. And I love to go even to the dollar store or wherever and get the cheap, crappy hot dogs that I would never want humans to eat because they're full of fillers. But we're not feeding the dog. You're taking that hot dog, you slice it, and then you slice it in fours. All that grease is on your hand. So what are they going to do? They're going to follow your hand everywhere you go. Now, if you wipe it on your pants, I can't help you there. Because they're going to follow your pants. And they will. They start licking your pants, the whole thing. But all you're trying to do is get the mind to pay attention to you. I want you to engage, and guess how positive it is, because animals are food driven, especially you're going to talk about the carnivores. Come on. And I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about changing the mindset. So the same thing, you want to teach a concept, you want to teach them to heal and walk alongside you. Let's make it fun. Let's make it a game. So the dog brings the ball to you and you get all excited. Oh, that's so great. Yay, bitch, you did it. And you throw it again. They're in heaven. They're absolutely in heaven because it's a positive reinforcement of where you want it. And what I needed my shepherds to do, because my children were so small, is they had to sit and drop the ball. For me, reaching into a German Shepherd's mouth is fine because I know how to get around the canines. I don't really want my kids having their hand in the dog's mouth and it going wrong because the dog thought she was out of his mouth and her hand was so little. So they were taught to drop the ball just at our feet, that we would pick it up and we would wait. We didn't always go immediately and pick it up because then you set up a pattern. Oh, you're going to pick it up and you're going to throw it again. No, I want you to be patient and sit, and maybe I will, and maybe I won't. So do you see what I'm talking about? Never always doing it one way, because someday, somewhere, you're going to get something happen, and it doesn't happen, and the dog falls apart, or the cat falls apart, or your child falls apart, and says, oh my God, you're not doing it like we normally do. Okay, normal should be a little flexible, because that's how life works, a little flexible. But peanut butter is a great teaching tool because it tastes so yummy. It doesn't have as strong a scent as the hot dog and the meat or anything like that, or bologna, but they're great. You could hold them in a little Ziploc bag in your pack, in your purse, or a fanny pack, if anybody still knows what those are. And you're teaching them to smell, taste, and pay attention to you. It's all about getting the mind focused on you while you're training.
I love the idea of that connection. Just, I can envision that now, that it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's just
Right.
to get them
It's
to
something
follow
they
you.
love. It's something that you would never feed them on a regular basis because it's like giving candy to a kid. How much did you want to pay for the dentist? I mean, it has no nutritional value, and bologna has no nutritional value. Cheapy hot dogs have no nutritional value. They're filled with crap, but they taste yummy. They're salty, they're gooey, they're whatever. And, you know, and I would think bacon would be a little much. And again, you'd have to feed it raw, and it's just not, it's not put together, you know, in the strips, you'd have to cut it all up. Where hot dogs, you literally just rip it off with your nails or whatever. And so I would keep like a fanny pack. Do you remember those? And we have treat packs now for trainers. And you cut up whatever you decide, and they have dry ones. You can get the dry ones. I'm just cheap. So I just went down and got the cheapy Lady Lee, if anybody remembers that brand, you know, hot dogs, and just diced them all up because you don't want them round. I should have said this first. I'm glad I thought of it. So you don't want them fully round. So a hot dog comes in a round shape. Let me reach for this. So this is a hot dog, right? They will choke on it. You cut it here, 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 here. They could choke on it. So could a kid. So what you're going to do is cut it in fourths. Again, we're not feeding them. We're getting the mind and the nose attached to something they love, tactile in the mouth, and you're teaching a concept. So if I want to teach to sit, I hold on to the hot dog, I put it over his head, his butt goes down on the ground because I've got over his head, and I give the treat. And pretty soon we don't have to go over the head. We get rid of a process, but they still get the treat when they do it right. And then eventually the treat goes away because the concept is learned. And now it's praise, petting, love. How exciting. Let's go and do what we were going to do. The treat is no longer necessary.
Wow, that's really interesting, Amina. If anybody has any questions or comments about how to train your pets, and I'm sure depending on what kind of pet it is, there's different training techniques.
Have you ever seen a ferret? It's a really tough training. We sat a bunch for a friend, and then I worked in the wildlife sanctuary and we had them there. But it's just like, they're just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. When we first got them, I hadn't ever had some in my home, and they did the arc like a what's that worm that does the
inchworm?
Yes, there we go. The inchworm. So he did the inchworm and he jumped to the side, and my cat was walking by going, what the heck happened to that? Like he's having a seizure. So I looked at my kids and I said, so either that's hilarious or he's having a seizure. Where are we going on? But it was their fun. It was their game jumping. And he just thought the ferret just thought our cats were, the bee's knees. Our cats were looking at him like, man, I don't know what you brought home, but this has gone over the line. Because I would bring home lots of stuff and foster them and took care of them. And so they're just like, yeah, I don't know what that is or what that's the. But he loved the cats. He absolutely loved the cats. But when you see a behavior for the first time, even for us who are around all these animals, you go, okay, that's really funny. Or it's tragic and I'm not doing anything about it. And I need to call the vet or something like that. I've had a lot of spiders in my life, and they hang out, and we've talked about this. I had used one at my desk for a long time, and they were always usually black widow. But I remember doing one of them, and I was weeding something, and I grabbed him. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then we went on because, again, I have a different perspective about how they are. And I now have handled them enough, and snakes, and very, very large snakes, that it's just like, that's not working for me, and that kind of stuff. So it's experience. So that's why you talk to people like me. There's a lot of trainers. If you find that you have conflicts with your trainer, find another one. Find one that works with your style of learning, your style of how you can hear things. And we all hear things. And Dr. Jacalyn, I know you do this. You must run into this constantly on this platform, not just us co-hosts, but guests you have. And we all have to figure out, okay, this is how this one communicates better. So I need either slow down or speed up or be more detailed or less detailed.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about a certain kind of animal that I see on a regular basis. And I think this
Not
is
the
the name.
spiders?
No, not the spiders. I think this is the name, but I'm not sure. It's a turkey duck. Have you heard of these?
No, but I'm not living where you are. So what's a turkey duck or duck turkey or something?
The back of it is a duck and the front of it's a turkey.
Did somebody do it on purpose?
I don't know, but they're all over down here and you see them.
You know what my kid would say? Google it, Mom.
Look it up. Turkey duck.
A turkey duck. Here we go. Turkey duck.
So they're very colorful. The back of them is the feathers are green and white, and then the front, it looks like the face of a turkey.
So it goes up in a plume?
Yeah, they can fly, but it's interesting because they're rather large, and you see them all walking together, and sometimes they'll just stop in the middle of the road and I'll be like, guys, you got to keep going, okay? You got to. I'll be like, keep going.
That big? Oh, the one with the pink beak and eye covering.
I think I've seen some with pink. Yes, it's just the commonality is the green and white feathers. So I don't know if anybody out there has.
Yeah, and they have black and white, wow,
And
no, I don't
they
want
seem
the
to be
food.
very domesticated because they're not afraid of people. They just, I guess
Right.
they've been fed by hand by
Well, yeah,
somebody, and they multiplied.
it's so funny. Everything I'm pulling up first, even though I see the pictures and everything, they keep saying how to cook it, how to clean it. And it's like, no, 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 no. I don't want to do that. I
No,
don't,
you know, Amina, it's so funny. When I was out walking and I saw them, I said, "Guys, you're safe. I'm pretty sure you're safe, and nobody's going to get you for the holidays."
well,
But
and obviously they have enough recipes here for it that somebody's cooking them. But goodness
wow.
sakes, for me, it's like when we do duck. Uh, First of all, it's too greasy for me, and I haven't had duck in years. And I've had venison years and years ago, and I went, yeah, not doing that again either.
I don't eat them either.
And I don't eat meat at all now. So there, I would have to look up their history because I've always wondered, and now you've got me have a tab open, so that's what I'll do when we're done. Is if they're hybrid because they have the rooster type of red, but it doesn't flap like a rooster. You know, it doesn't have. It's just in the facial area that they had that red, like fatty, bumpy, skinny thing. And some have more, some have less, and they're all white with black feathers kind of scattered around. Again, they had quite a few pictures, and yes, I have seen them, and I have seen them with other chickens and with other birds in people's farms. But I believe they're used for laying, and they might be one of them that does the green egg. I'll have to look it up. And so it's a different flavor, it's a different use, and that type of stuff. But we'll have to get a black and white reddish turkey expert person.
Well, you know, where I live, I've been walking around this circle for 40 years, and there's an
Wow.
offshoot that goes to a lake that I never
Mhm,
knew, literally until last week. And so I took the offshoot and I was walking around the lake and I see these turkey ducks. And
mhm,
again, there were probably 20 or 30 of them. And then as I
right.
came around the other side of the lake, I saw a full grown, I shouldn't say full grown, maybe it'll get bigger, white iguana.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was really beautiful. It was by a tree right by the lake. And as I'm walking by, all of a sudden I felt my heart racing. And I remember what you said about when don't be afraid, don't show any
Right.
fear. And I thought, I know this guy can run a lot faster than me. What if he decides to come after me? And I was afraid. And I thought, I remember what you said about getting a stick or whatever, but I thought, I'm not going to be walking around the lake anymore. That was the last time.
Well,
Because
and it sounds like it's a walking path that you're on. It sounds like this is a public area. So they're going to see people all the time. If you're going to go to the Glades and, Everglades in Florida or wherever, and you're going to go to the way out nowhere place that doesn't see people, we are a carnivore. And so they will see us as that. And if there's babies around, oh, God help you, because they're going to be in protection mode and that type of stuff. And honestly, alligators and all these lizards and things like that, they move really fast. So the nice thing is, yes, keep your energy calm. Always be aware of where you're around, especially us women. I want you to always make sure you know who's behind and who's in front if you're hiking in the hills or in the forest. And you need to, even carry a whistle or whatever. A whistle will startle also the lizards, but not enough possibly to even get them to stop in a full run. But the nice thing is run side to side because
yeah.
they're going to go first straight. And then you go side to side, and they can move. They can move fast. I'm not going to say it's a given, but your duck and weave and trying to climb a tree will be good. It is a really good idea to always be aware of where you are. I don't care if we're worried about the boogeyman, and I mean humanity, or animals and that type of stuff. Most of the time, they are trying to protect themselves or their loved ones, their babies. And if you don't know there's a nest around, then that's not on you to know. But they're going to only be highly aggressive when there are babies on the ground or eggs on the ground. What we're dealing with is dealing with eggs and that type of stuff. And they usually will stay pretty close to them. So meaning they're going to run out only a few feet. And if you go the other way and they don't come any further, they don't see you as a threat because you have acquiesced. That is yours. I'm good. that's yours. I'm going this way.
Yeah.
You know,
What about iguanas at night? Do they sleep in trees or do they burrow? What do they do?
it depends on how big they are. I'm no iguana specialist as far as that goes. So, anybody who has a better idea, please, type it in the chat or let us know. But they do love trees. They'll go for safety, especially if there's a predator involved, like an alligator who's bigger. And they get pretty big, but depending, if you're going to South America, they do a lot of trees. I can't think of one that doesn't climb a tree. They've got the nails for it. They've got the swishy tail that's balanced for them to do that. Now, their tail doesn't come around and give them a grip like a monkey would or something like that. So they're going to stay close to the ground, but they're really fast on the ground. They're very
11 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I cannot run 11 miles an hour. I'm just letting you know right now.
I'm not running 11 minutes an hour. I don't care. and so, dodge and weave. Yes, absolutely. I would, there's things that people like for women who are out exercising on their own. I'm really hoping that we're to the place where you're either wearing a whistle or you're carrying a foghorn type thing, because it's those humanoids that I'm more concerned with than actually the animals. Because the animals have one thing. Are you here to kill me? Are you here to injure and kill my young? And are you here to steal the food source? That's it. Humanity, I have no idea why. We don't know about mental illness. We don't know about, there's not a sign says, I'm mentally ill. I might act erratic and that kind of stuff. Women who are jogging and traveling alone and all that, it's just a really good idea to have something that startles everybody. And those little foghorns, especially when it's 4th of July, go to the after 4th of July sale. And, because I can't imagine they still don't sell those for 4th of July and New Year's. We got that one coming up.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. I go out walking a lot.
Yeah.
I'm getting a whistle. Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna get a whistle.
and you just wear it. It's simple, especially if you're power walking and you're not jogging and getting beat by the whistle. It's got to be, excuse me, whatever protection you choose. It's got to be quick and easy access. That's why a whistle around your neck is easy to run in, jog in. You put it down your shirt or whatever. If it's in your pocket, you could drop it. You might fumble because you're stressed because you got some scary guy coming up. The nice thing is that it doesn't matter the cheap, you're going for a high squeaky whistle. It needs to be not in the lower range. Most whistles aren't. I haven't met one yet, and the foghorn is the same thing. It's not a sound you're going to hear normally. Somebody whistling is going to know you're in trouble. And let's say you trip and you break an ankle and the cell phone doesn't work because you're in the middle of nowhere. Okay, that happens lots when we all go for a walk. We have dead spots, even where I am, and it's in the middle of town. A whistle can save your life because you can continue to blow that whistle as long as you're conscious. And because the foghorn will eventually run out of the, I think it's some kind of pressure in a can, but the whistle will not. And it's cheap and it's free almost at the $1.25 store. So,
Aminah, it's so interesting that you're talking about this. I was out for a walk a few years ago, the same path that I'm where I am now. And my shoelace, I was running and my shoelace came undone and I tripped over it. I fell on the ground. I broke my phone and my hands and my knees were bleeding. And I was literally there helpless. Like there was nothing I could do because I couldn't even walk. I had to wait for somebody to come by and see me. But if I had a whistle, I'm sure I could have gotten someone's attention a lot faster. So that's a really good point.
Exactly. And just think about with parks, let's say you're walking around a lake on the path and you have somebody across the lake. Most lakes don't have giant trees in the middle. I mean, look at Florida, they have some, but your whistle, they're going to see from a distance and you can wave your hand or wave your jacket or whatever you're capable of. Or you can whistle randomly and then whistle in a pattern and say, like somebody says, somebody whistling, you go, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And you want to get that attention. It's just good for everybody. And I've been doing first responding for so long. We've talked about what you need to carry in your car. We talk about what you should carry on your person when you're hiking. It's just, I don't care if you're in a group or you're alone. At some point you could be separated from the group or whatever, and they need to maybe carry somebody down and you're left up top and they'll come back for you. And God forbid, they get caught up with the medical, whatever. If you're lost in the woods or lost downtown, you can stop into stores. And sometimes we don't have a working cell phone. It dies.
It's true.
You dropped it. It broke. I couldn't tell you my daughter's phone number for my life. I know there's a 5 involved.
That's not going to help too much, right?
Because it's not like we used to have when we were younger. We had the same area code and the same 3 digits in the beginning, and that was that town, and that was that town, and that town, but everything else was but that's only 4 digits you had to guess.
Yes.
No.
It's all changed. It has.
Yeah, and you can put safety things on your phone, but again, it has to be charged. Right. It has to be available to you to do that. And whistles literally can cost you 50 cents.
So we're advocating everyone to get a whistle and wear it around your neck and have it available. So if you're ever in a situation where you are by yourself and you need help, that you can call someone.
Even if you just leave it in your car, let's say, you really splurge and you get $5 and 25 cents whistles, and you put one in the car, you put one in your house, because what happens if somebody breaks into your home and you need to go to ground, but your neighbors are close enough? All my neighbors are close enough. If my windows are open, they're going to hear it. And they're going to hear it, and they're going to hear it. Now, can I get to the smoke detector? No, I got to burn acid or something to get the sprinklers, and then my whole house is wet.
Right. That's a whole other show.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's just about, I want to move people to be safe. I want to move people that it's simple. Don't overthink it. It doesn't need to be $1 million, whatever. I'd love to see you all have, the jogging phone attached thing here that you could do all that. But still, what happens when it dies?
Yeah, good point.
Women specifically need to keep safe.
Yes, definitely. A lot of wonderful information that you've shared as always. I see the sun is coming in on you.
I'm like, okay. Well, I love it because I finally could open it all up, and then halfway through, I'm in the dark, or I'm in too much sun. It's like,
I remember that was happening to me when I was in New Jersey, and the sun was coming on the green screen.
Live.
No. Aminah, please let people know where they can reach you. I know you had a special offer, which I think is ending very soon, but go ahead and share it if you would.
Until January, I was going to do it till January 5th. And if we decide to continue, we will do so. But for Dr. Jacalyn's audience specifically, just go to bridgingworlds.us and you can tell me that you're with Dr. Jacalyn Show. You've seen us. And instead of $75 for up to an hour to talk to me personally, one-on-one, or your family and your dog and you, whoever, but one phone call, it is $50. So taking $25 off until the 15th of January. I extended it by 2 more weeks so that we could get, I've had a couple of people call, but they're all on vacation. So we had to put a few dates out, and I'm okay with that. As long as you give me a call by the 15th.
That's fantastic, Aminah. I'm actually typing it up right now. So I have your offer for the show is to go to bridgingworlds.us. You can book a consultation for $50 instead of $75.
Exactly.
All right.
And that's all the stuff we talked about, all the things I can help you with or refer you, where you need to, what specialist you need to go to. Believe it or not, the hardest question isn't, is it time? That's easier than my pet ran away. Oh, I kind of grin. It's like, because it's really hard to get everybody to calm down and that kind of stuff. But animals who have passed, I also talk to people who have passed on, and it's just something I've always been able to do. So I'll help you in any way I possibly can. And as you can see, we've talked a lot about training, so I can help you with that too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Aminah. It's such a pleasure to end the week. And it's Christmas Eve here. And I know it's amazing to me. I was speaking to one of my friends, Mariska, in New Zealand yesterday. We were on a show together, and it was already Christmas Eve there because they're 18 hours ahead.
Right.
So,
right.
So some people's already Christmas Day where they are. So thank you to everybody who has watched our show. This is our 46th episode, and we are coming back next week, and you will find us the same place, the same time next year. So we're really excited to be working together.
And we're going to have some fun on New Year's, I think.
Yes, we are. We have, thank you. We have the reunion show.
I have it on my calendar.
We have the reunion show, which is coming up on New Year's Day. And Aminah has an hour. Do you know what hour your time is?
No.
No. Okay, we'll figure it out.
That's next month.
Yes, we're actually going live from 11 a.m. Eastern time to 6 p.m. Eastern time. We have extended it an hour, by the way, because we have so many people who are interested. So anyway,
wonderful.
You can get involved. I'm going to find the banner for that. If you want to be part of our reunion show, you can go over to Eventbrite and you can book your time with us. Actually, you don't get a specific time. We will give you a time if you want one, but you can just sign up. If I could find the banner, I can never find my own banners.
It's only when you're not looking.
Here it is.
It's how it works. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah. And I'll put it in the comments. So basically, you get to come on our show and promote whatever it is that you're doing. It's not an interview. It's a time of reflection for you to share what you've been up to this year in 2021, and then what you're doing in 2022, any offers that you want to share with our audience. But it's just an opportunity for people to get out there, maybe to meet some new people, collaborate on some new things, and have some fun with us.
Absolutely. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. I could buy a kazoo or something. Let's see if the dollar store sells it.
Well, thank you for the reminder. I'm pasting it right now. And as we close out the show, I really want to thank everybody for their loyalty, for watching, whether you watch on the live or you're watching on the replay. Our shows are all under the playlist. If you go to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV, and you can just go to playlists and you can look for Presenting Pet Psychic Aminah, and that's where the shows are.
And so much more. If you're looking for a topic, this is the place to go. I spend hours cruising through your stuff, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I don't get much done though, so I have to get off and do something.
And we're also, just so people know, we're also on 6 Facebook pages, a Facebook group. We're on 2 LinkedIn pages. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter. And we're not on Instagram, only because they don't allow us to stream there, but I do post some of the shows there. So there's certainly plenty of opportunities for you to see us. And we're also on Business Talk Radio out of New York, and of course, YouTube, which I already mentioned. So with that being said, Aminah and I are going to leave. We wish you a very happy holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Aminah, I'll give the last words to you.
No, need anything, as you said, bridgingworlds.us. That's all the info about me, my resume, all my background, all that kind of stuff. Love to have you, even on Facebook.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye.